Hey, what's up? What's up, y'all? What's
Hey
up?
everyone, Brian and Erica here on the Be Healed podcast. Man,
Yes, we are so
today,
excited. Mm,
today,
yes, gonna be good.
okay, I hope so. No, for real though, we are discussing three major reasons that marriages fail today.
Yeah,
And this is huge because the divorce rate is so high.
yes, it is.
It's staggering. It's actually very sad because when you think about marriage, you think about people typically get married because they feel like they found their life partner,
Yeah.
the person they want to spend the rest of their life with. They want to grow old with this person,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all these things. And then they reach this point where, in a lot of divorce proceedings, it is called the point of unreconcilable differences.
Yes. And
And go ahead.
no, I'm good. We got both have a lot to say.
Yeah,
So
no,
because this
we
is an
can talk.
exciting topic. So of course you guys come in, say hello, say what's up, because with the streaming platform, we don't know if you're here with us unless you comment. So but yeah, as we're talking about, these three major reasons why marriages fail, and we're going through this and what's happening today with society, especially as it being the rate just continues to go up.
Yeah, the divorce rate continues to go up.
Yeah.
And the thing is, most issues within marriages can be resolved.
Yes. Yeah.
The problem is people just don't know how to resolve them.
Yeah.
That's why the term irreconcilable
Differences.
differences,
Yeah.
because we can't reconcile. We can't figure it out. So because that, we're just going to go our own separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, society likes to make divorce kind of cute and pretty. Hey, I mean,
Yeah.
like make it cute, it's relief.
Because like they're having divorce parties today.
Yeah,
All
no,
these divorce parties and
yeah, that's a lot.
divorce celebrations. It's like you can't celebrate something that's dying because it's a
Yeah,
death. It's a breakdown, especially even when you have children involved. You
yeah,
having families separate now, and it's a total destruction of something that was put together that wasn't meant to be separated. And so we wanted to be in a place of understanding that, hey, we want to know the three things that seem to pop up the most. What we see, what stats show, why marriages are having such a hard time today.
and so we gave them the title of the three S's.
Three S's, like S's, like in Sam, three
Yeah,
S's.
three S's. The first S is selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
The second S is stubbornness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's pretty self-explanatory too. And then the third S is standards. And y'all like, what you talking about? What you mean standards? We're gonna get to that.
Yeah. And even as we're going and you want to, type in the chat yourself of just talking about some of the reasons
Yes, and
that
even some
some questions you may have that about things today, or you have yourself wondering about this because you want to make sure you don't fall in this position, or others you may know that you might be trying to help them out, and reasons you're seeing about where marriages are failing. And so, as you said, we're talking about selfishness. We wanted to talk about that one first because that is major, where
It is.
people, it's a mindset today where people are getting married, and they get married and they think marriage is about them.
Right.
It's about me being taken, about me getting pleased, my needs being met, and what I want I get. And
Mhm.
because of that, the wrong mindset of what marriage actually is, because they never learned what marriage was for many
Right.
people.
I can talk for myself.
Go ahead.
I never saw like a really good healthy marriage in front of me, and even until like later into my, yeah, I guess not later into my adulthood, but
Yeah.
not in enough time to get a good foundation before I got married. Let
Yeah.
me say that. But when you don't have that good example in front of you, it's hard to kind of figure it out because you paint the picture in your own head.
Yeah.
This is what my marriage should be like. This is how things
Mm-hmm.
should go. And you kind of set up in your own mind,
Yeah.
the foundation of it, what it should look like.
Yeah.
The problem is what's in your head isn't in your spouse's head.
Exactly. And that is key right there, is that many y'all come from two different worlds.
Yeah.
And what you are looking for, what you feel is a good marriage, is a lot of times not what your spouse exactly is looking for. And
Or
then
they feel it's a good
a
marriage.
good marriage.
Right.
And then at the same time, you don't know what you actually should be looking for. And so you got all these things. And what it is based around many times is I, me, myself, and I,
Yep.
or what I feel is good, what I feel is right, what I feel makes my marriage works. And many times that's not the best thing.
And a lot of data is coming out about how social media and all of that has really kind of ruined us
Yeah.
as people,
Mm-hmm.
and it has made people more narcissistic.
Yes.
And the truth of the matter is, narcissistic people will struggle the most
Mm-hmm.
with staying married because they more have the mindset of it is about me.
Yeah.
I need, my family to revolve around me. I need my spouse to revolve around me. The people in my circle
Mm-hmm.
should enhance and enrich my life.
Yes.
What's the problem with that statement? You're like, yeah, of course, the people in your circle should enhance and enrich your life. That's the problem, that entire statement. Because when we get married, the
Mm-hmm.
mindset should be, how can I enhance and enrich their life? That's the mindset.
Now,
That's what it should be.
and what you hear right there is not what people know and understand about marriage today. That is actually not about you.
Right.
And when we living in a society today, when people saying, "What about me and mine? What about my goals, my dreams, my
Yeah.
expectations, all the things I want in life?"
Yep. I like that you put out there expectations.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter is, we have expectations
Yeah.
set up in our mind, and all of the expectations are surrounding our hopes and dreams,
And-
what we want as an individual.
And so what happens is that when I'm looking at myself and what I need over and over again, that is when people start being in a place of saying, I feel like this is not working because what I feel like I need, I'm not getting. And so what happens is we're saying, okay, so what about your spouse needs?
Right.
And they'll think many times that, oh, they're giving that spouse what they need.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of you guys know that we work with other couples, married
Yeah.
and premarital and all that stuff. And most people feel like they're like a really good spouse.
Yes. Mhm. Well, it really good spouse, and even for the people who's single, who will
Yeah.
feel, oh, I'll be a really good spouse. I
Oh,
know I'm
yeah.
going to be a good spouse in the future.
But there are some major mindset shifts
Mhm.
that have to come in when you're going from being single to married.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't make those shifts. They're still looking at, I want to be catered to.
Yeah.
I want this person to make me happy.
Yeah.
I want this other person to do this for me, shower me with gifts.
Yeah.
Write me love notes all the time.
Fly me across
rub
the
my
world.
feet. Yes,
Yeah.
take me on these extravagant vacations and all these me statements. Like,
And you may
an
run,
I statement.
yeah, and you run into a situation where your spouse don't make that much money. Y'all don't run into hard times. You can't fly across the
Right.
world. Then
Or they do, but where you're flying to, you didn't want to go.
go.
You want to go to such and such, or they gave you a gift, but it wasn't a gift you wanted.
Then children come into place, and because children come into place, you can't get up and go where you want to anytime, any place. And so a lot of things come in that throws off what you just want to do, and now it becomes where it becomes about other people more than you, and people are struggling very hard to say, wait, what about me though?
And then we just hit some surface stuff. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes I just don't like that my spouse doesn't talk to me enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because, those will be issues. My spouse doesn't, isn't very giving to me.
Me.
I feel last on my spouse's list.
Yes, I'm not getting enough affection. Well, I don't feel like we have where we are being intimate enough times.
Yep.
I don't feel like we're going out on enough dates.
All of
those
things, which
things.
are important. They
Yeah.
mean something. But the truth of the matter is, in this life, when we sit up and focus on ourselves and what we're not getting, we can always run down this huge laundry list. I mean, taking it outside the spouse, and we look at different things like our job, what kind of satisfaction we're getting
Yeah.
on it. We always have a list of, this could be better, this could be better. And when we're looking at our spouse, looking at them to make us happy, and we're wallowing in selfishness, that is going to really be detrimental on the marriage.
And what people don't understand, and many people don't understand, and we learned this in our marriage as well, is that when you are more serving to your spouse and you're selfless with your spouse, it actually blesses you to be that way. You say better to give than to receive.
Yes.
Well, we just stole it from Jesus, because Jesus talked about how we want to love others as we want to be loved, and we want to give love, and we want to show love, and we want to present it in all these different ways, and we want to make sure look out for the needs of others more than ourselves. And when we're
Yes.
doing it for our spouse, our marriage grows. And actually, and what happens is we say, well, how does that work? That if I'm giving to them, it's gonna help me. I need to make sure I give to myself. But it's crazy how we are built that when we serve and we give in that way to our spouse.
There's inner fulfillment that
Yes,
happens.
exactly.
And, the more we try to get, the more is gone, gone, gone.
Yep. So the first S as we're dealing with was selfish. And as again, the three major reasons marriages are failing. Of course, you have a question, type some in the chat.
Yep.
And like somebody put in a one reason they feel is expectations.
Yes.
And of course, say hi so we know you're in the chat as well. And but what is the next S on the list?
Stubbornness.
Stubbornness. Ooh, okay. Now stubbornness is huge. I'm gonna take this one
You're
first.
gonna take it first.
I'm gonna take it first because I was a person who dealt with stubbornness. But when I a lot of times it goes both ways. I can't even say, oh, it's all men, it's all women.
Right. No.
This is actually pretty equal on both sides.
Yes.
Whereas like, well, I'm setting my ways. This is how I am. I'm not willing to bend and compromise
Right.
in order for us to work best. And it's saying, well, the thing is, for any team to work, any situation where you come together with people, there has to be compromise for it to work. It can't be, you know what, I don't care who else on my team, I'm shooting all the shots.
Have to work cooperatively.
Yes, you have to work cooperatively.
And in any given situation, we can feel like, oh, the way I think, the way I feel about this, or the way I go about it is going to be the best way. The issue is your spouse isn't in your head.
Yeah.
Like I dealt with. You weren't in my mind. And so
I was trying though, but
you were trying.
Couldn't do it, y'all. Couldn't do it. I failed
you
like a
didn't
lot of
make
fellas.
it. That's
No,
okay. Though.
failed bad.
But the cool part about it is when you learn to come together.
Yeah.
And just say, you know what? I'm tired of us arguing.
Yeah, come together.
Okay,
Come
like
together.
that.
Yeah, come together.
Look like an ET move or something. I don't
Okay,
know.
all right.
But when you come together, because you get some people don't get sick of arguing and fussing and always being bothered and frustrated and all that. I don't like all that drama and all that stuff. You don't like all that drama and all that stuff. It's like, okay, so what is this gonna take for us to get this right? And we always talk to each other about it, and we talk to other people about it, and that is right fighting.
Yeah.
You get into the point where I want my way so bad, I'm willing to fight to get my way.
Yep.
Because
and then you lose the war.
Yeah.
Whereas like I'd rather just fight to be right instead of our marriage winning, I win.
Yes.
In a situation, and you have it where it be a situation where you may be totally wrong. You might have messed up, and you so stubborn, you want to apologize. You might say, I'm just gonna get them their favorite food or something like that. I'm gonna go grab something like that instead of saying, hey, I'm sorry. And I messed up. I was wrong about that. Man, I'm sorry about that.
Right.
And then other times we'll talk with couples and we'll be like, okay, well, if you just simply, do this and do that, a compromise, it could work for both people. And people not willing to make the compromise. And like,
right.
No, I want to be at a, like when we're talking about, I had kids. I mean, you have children, and you like, well, I want to be able to go back to school and get another degree.
Okay.
We actually went through that, and I want to be able to go back to school, get another degree. You're married now, and it's like, and this is what I plan to do.
This is my goal. This is my dream.
Yes.
I always wanted to be this, so I'm going to go back to school, and I want to get this degree. I want this diploma, which is a good goal. It's not a bad thing. The issue is the other person has to be able to, there has to be compromise.
Yes.
Because if one person goes back to school, the other person has to carry more weight, has to carry more of the load. And so it can't be a singular decision like, oh, well, I'm going back to school, and then you're just going to have to go along with it because this is what I want. No, because that means when I'm in school, somebody's got to help watch the kids a little bit more than before. Somebody's got to help drive kids around more. When I can't cook dinners, somebody's got to cook some more. When I have study groups, so I need to study, somebody has to be more attentive to the family. So when decisions are being made, people the problem is that people like to have it their way.
Wait, and some people don't get everything may not just be for right now.
Right.
Some things it may be for a later time. We're saying right now we can't do that, but in today's society, people say no. It's your time, it's me time, and it says no. You got married. Me time is out the window. It's us time, and that's what you see more and more as you're watching these different shows, and people are leaving their families, and even after with children being little or getting older, and I'm done. It's time for me, and it says no. You got married for time for we. And that's one of the major struggles right there. And it says, well, something is not in a season yet. It's not that season. And I love it because God always gonna say it best. And Jesus said it best. He said, a kingdom divided cannot stand. You can't be in one house. He said Satan even understands that. You got to be on one accord with things. So that means be on one accord with things. You got to talk, you got to compromise and come together with a plan and not be worried about, well, what if it don't go my way? Sometimes it may not, but it's gonna go y'all way.
Right. And see, what tends to happen is most marriages aren't very balanced.
Yeah.
They're typically one-sided, when there's a really, really big issue.
Yeah.
And typically one person might be a little bit more stubborn than the other. And then that more stubborn person tends to get their way more frequently.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's like when both people have a heart to not just win.
Yeah.
Over the other people.
I love that.
And knowing that winning sometimes makes the other person feel bad.
Yes.
Makes the other person might even feel miserable. And just having that in the forefront of our minds as married couples, like, look here, me winning means my spouse loses.
And I remember one time I said that I was dealing with a couple and the spouse, she won in the situation. I said, well, you won the situation, but you just lost your spouse because at this point they shut down. They don't want to talk, and you got what you won in that situation, but now you just lost them. Was that worth losing them in that situation in a moment? Because now things are going to need to be rebuilt from what was just broken from them just giving in and say, you know what? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
And so things were lost in it, and a person was like, I didn't even think of it that far. I was just so gung-ho and stubborn on making sure I got my way. I wanted my point. Things to roll the way I wanted it to roll, that I was willing to roll over everybody because you start fighting your spouse like you back on A block or in the project somewhere and you going in because you got, I'm not gonna lose. This is like, no, this is your spouse. Y'all
on the same team.
Y'all on the same team. Y'all got to fight together. We CMB, baby, Cash Money, brother. We on. Wait, no, I don't know. It might be a good example because he did. He shot him later. He shot him later. Okay, so throw that window out. Throw that out the window right there. We're not gonna use that example. But y'all supposed to be on the same team. And so when you're working together, it's a thing where you understand you're struggling with stubbornness.
Right.
As we say, go in your prayer closet. Realize that it's not going to help because me just getting my way is not a marriage.
Right.
It's us coming together to get our way. What works best. That's why I always love team sports. And you like ran track and y'all did things where y'all had the, what do they call, like 4x1s or 4x relays.
Yeah.
And the coach will switch up certain positions at certain times and say, hey, I know you normally run the first leg or the last leg because they for the two fastest people. But today I need you to run that second leg is the longest one because
you can make it longer depending on how you restructure the handoffs.
Yeah. Exactly. She getting all technical look at it now. No. I love it. I love watching hearing her talk about track.
He's trying to be funny.
But the person that know they may be fast and say, okay, I'll switch up my position. And it's a major race.
Yeah.
Because why? I care more about the team winning than me looking good because I get to be the final leg in the race.
Yep. And like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Stubbornness, it's hard to find a couple where nobody is stubborn.
Yeah.
So it's like present all the time. Most people, and see, he pointed himself out, which I love that you're being transparent. Because one of the things that's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to Cause see, sometimes I thought I was like, I had to go into my genius mode. I was like, he just don't understand me. So once I concoct this great situation where he can understand and I present it in this beautiful way, then there will be no more problems. He will get it. And then the stubbornness will not be present because he will understand my points of view, all this stuff. And then I'll explain it. And he'll nod his head like, yeah. I get what you're saying. I understand the way you feel. And in my head, I'm like, I just did it. And then the next day,
Ah,
Mm-mm.
I was still on.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
But the thing was, even though it didn't feel good at the time to feel like I was losing,
Mm-hmm.
the beauty of it was when it all came together.
Yeah.
It's about sticking it out.
Yeah.
No marriage does no one should feel like they're winning all the time. Because if
Yes.
they are, then their spouse is losing all the time. And the thing is, the beauty of it is sticking it out and
Yeah.
being able to have that, that resiliency. Like we went through it together, we came out together, we're okay,
Yeah.
we learn from our mistakes, we're getting better. But one of the other hard parts is when you feel like somebody's not learning, they're just continuing to go
The same way.
and go.
And that's why we got to make sure we're in a place where we're not taking everything personal.
Yes.
Because it could be where you like they just being stubborn. And certain times it may not they being stubborn. They may not have understanding.
Right.
And because we always feel like we are the best at explaining it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they got it now. And they may have a total misunderstanding. Like we talk about, we've been married about to be 22 years now. And it's things I'm just getting today that she's been talking to me about since our third year of marriage of wanting me to understand. And I'm just saying, oh, so that's what you meant all this time. Man, I thought you meant this. But imagine if she just said, "Oh, well, you know what? I'm tired because he ain't getting this, he ain't getting that." No
He
one
doesn't respect me.
Yeah, he don't care about how I feel. And it wasn't those
Even though
things.
I felt like that sometimes,
Yeah.
but I was wrong.
Yeah.
You did respect me. You did care about how I felt. But in the moment, it felt like, no, he doesn't. Because of the situation, I lacked understanding of where you were coming from. You lacked understanding of where I was coming from. And you were like, this is where I stand and this is where it's going to be.
And then I love how you brought up understanding, because also understanding that some stuff is from past trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So past trauma she went through with what happened with growing up in her home and a single parent home with her dad, as we talked about on a couple of podcasts before, and alcoholism and different things like that. It was certain things that she had that she was dealing with, and I could have taken it as, oh, she just being like this, she being like that. Like, no, she had to learn how to,
or she'll never change.
She'll never change.
Yep.
And I had to be patient while God worked with her and on her through her things to actually be a support system as much as possible, instead of being a problem. And sometimes I made the things worse because I was taking it personal. Once I started feeling like, what about me? What about she ain't looking at me? I need this from her. And once I started being inner focused,
yep,
that's when that is when I always struggle the most. Whenever I start focusing on they ain't doing what they need for me, this and that, and for me personally, which we're gonna talk about next, is that's when God kicks my butt.
Yeah.
And say, now you're supposed to be focusing on what she needs
instead of focusing on what she's. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, nobody's ever gonna give us all we want.
Exactly.
That's just not gonna happen. That's unrealistic. And that's why selfish people shouldn't get married.
Yeah.
They should stay single, because you can make it all about self when you're single.
Yeah.
When you're married, it's literally not about you.
Yeah.
It's not.
I remember
you gotta switch mindset.
Yeah. I remember it was a couple, and there was a wife and a couple that said, YOLO, I'm married. YOLO, you only live once. You gotta do what you gotta do. And I know I'm married, but you gotta, and said, whoa, you shouldn't have got married then.
Right.
If you want to only live once and do everything you want to do, not have no pushback, not have people saying, hey, I depend on you, I need you to step away from that. I want to be able to achieve every goal I want. I don't want to have to be home at a certain time. I want to be able to take a vacation to Cancun. Nobody saying that to me. Stay single.
That's all.
That's it. Don't ruin your life and somebody else's life and children's lives.
Right.
Stay single. When you saying, you know what, I'm willing to give up these things and sacrifice those things to build with somebody.
For the love of a unit. Being espoused to someone else and becoming one and building together.
And it's is more than worth it.
It is.
It is more than worth it. So we want to make sure we say that part, but it is work.
Yep.
It is work, and it's a lot of dying to what I want and selflessness and a lot of compromise. And so that's why the key with the next part, the final S, is standards.
And we talk about standards because we talk to a lot of couples that are married.
Yes.
And, have talked to several married couples throughout the years. And what happens is they get into marriage and they go, this isn't what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping for better than this.
Yes.
Ooh, this isn't what I dreamed of. And this is the thing. So what happens is people come into marriage and they have standards for what they feel like marriage is. So say, for example, I'm gonna give you an example. Say, for example, he feels like because he's married now, he can't go out to the club once uh once every other day.
Mm-hmm.
Now he wants to go to the club once a week.
Yeah.
I feel like and then strip clubs once a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when you're married, clubs are over, strip clubs are absolute no.
Yeah.
So who gets whose standard is the right one?
Yeah.
Whose standard should we go by?
Yeah.
Should we compromise? Should I be miserable that he's not at the club once a week, but or every other day or one, but now he's there once a week or once every 2 weeks, and he goes to the strip club every 2 months, even though I felt like a husband of mine shouldn't be in those places.
Or no longer the strip club, but okay, I'm not a strip club, but I can watch pornography.
Right.
Because at least I'm not out physically cheating on you. I'm just watching pornography, but
Or I'm not watching them in person
anymore.
It's on the screen.
It's on the screen now, and all these Instagram models and everything else. But yet she's feeling miserable about thinking about her body, how you desire that, and all these things. But it's like, hey, this is what I need. I'm not cheating on you, so you got to accept it. Mm-hmm. And we know this is so real because we hear couples talk about this. When we're counseling, you hear couples talk about it when you watch this stuff on TV, and they say, well, at least they not out cheating, or at least they not. And the men will say, well, I'm not out cheating on you. I mean, it's just porn.
Home to you
every night. And so you hear that. And so it's things like that where it's like, wow. So that's that. I just got to roll with that, because who decides the weight of what is the standard? What is our North Star? What do we look to?
Why we brought this up, because for us, and in our marriage, our standard is God.
Yes.
And so in our marriage, and we both, that was established before we got married.
Yeah.
That was our standard. So anytime one of us starts saying something where it's like, you know what? You stepping out of the standard.
Yes.
We have, like he said, our North Star that points us to like, well, this is what God said.
Yep.
And because this is what God said, this is the way, this is the direction we're supposed to go. And I know you want to do this, but because this is what God said, you know, this is what the decision is. I'm going to give you an example instead of the this and that.
Oh, I was about to have an example. If you didn't, go ahead. You got it.
Okay.
I'm getting mine
because
too.
It happens with a lot of men.
Yeah.
Okay. So it happens with a lot of men. She ain't giving it up enough.
Well, they might have heard what you said. You got the raspy. I don't know where the raspy voice came from.
Because I'm supposed to be a dude.
Okay, got it.
But in any case, basically they're feeling like, you know, intimacy is not frequent enough.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so they're like, you know what? She's not doing her job as a woman. Her wifely duties, all these things. I'm a man. I have needs. It's funny that I'm saying it, you know, I mean, this is what I hear all the time. So I went out on my own because I'm a man and I have needs.
Yeah.
And she wasn't satisfying me. The problem with that is now the wife is miserable.
Well, not the wife is miserable. The first problem is you just sinned against God. That's why for us, our standard is him. And it's a standard that doesn't move. When I control the standard, I can shift it however I want to.
Right. Because
at that moment, I'm cool with not cheating as long as I'm getting the sex I need. Right. Or she cool with not cheating as long as she getting attention and affection she need. But once she's not getting it, then I got the right to go out because you're falling below your job. And so what happens when God comes in, it says, well, they could be falling below their job, but I'm the one you holding the standard to.
Right. He's the immovable standard.
Yes.
See, guess what? That same couple, they didn't come into marriage where the husband's saying, just so you know, if you fall off and intimacy isn't what it looking like now, I'm gonna switch up on you and go find somebody else. That conversation doesn't happen.
Or for the wife feeling like, well, if I'm not getting the things I want in my house, my car, getting to go places, the attention I need, you know, the nice things like that, then I have the right to seek the attention from somebody else because you are falling below what I need to feel safe and protected and comfortable. So I get to do what I need to do. And this is what people are justifying in their own minds
because their spouse isn't meeting whatever the need is.
Yes. And the spouse is going to fall below it because your spouse is not Jesus. They're not perfect. They're not Jesus. They're going to fall below it. And it's going to happen over and over again.
All the time.
And so we're not understanding that, keep you up all the time. We're not understanding that you guys find yourself fighting with breaking the standard. Like what I was about to bring up is that when I deal with couples, husband and wife, it's going
Mhm.
both ways today. Back in the day, it used to be, well, they just stay married, or the woman to stay because she needs the man to just take care of it. But
Right,
now
and
with
she would
women,
be miserable,
yeah, but now with women having
sleeping in separate
jobs,
rooms.
yeah, and careers, they say, I don't got to sit around no more. I can just go. And so now people are feeling free to go and not just stick around for even the children or for the husband.
Right.
And so what's happening is you having people saying, well, my spouse is not, doing A, B, and C. They don't give me
Mhm.
the attention I need. I feel like I've been telling about my needs and wants for years now, and he's still falling below it. I feel like that, I've been telling my needs somebody to talk to, and I feel like we're not close. I feel like that, your attention is other places. It's in your phone all the
Mhm.
time. It's on Instagram, TikTok. And because I'm not getting all that, I'm about to be done with this marriage, because we've been going through this for 10, 15, 20, 30
Right. I
years.
constantly talk to you about this over and over
Yeah.
again. Nothing's changing. I'm tired of seeing
Yep.
the same thing.
And
No different
some,
results.
if they say it, I talk to some
Right.
spouses. I'm talking to men or women, and they're talking about leaving a spouse and haven't even told their spouse. They just, they should know better. No, they y'all don't have the same brain. Why
Right.
let them know once and they should change? Nah, that's not how things work. And like God always tells me, how many things have I told you about you need to change, and you struggle with it over and over again? So have that same grace.
And there's a thing with cognition. When it comes to our mind, we get into habits,
Yeah.
and we do certain things, and it takes time to change our habits. It takes time to change our mindsets and the way we think about things. And sometimes it's so hard, we do present stubbornness, because it's like, I don't want to change that. I'm comfortable with this.
Yeah.
But then things will change over time when both people are trying to work together. And it doesn't have to always be both people striving to do better at the same time. Sometimes one person just being graceful,
Yeah.
just being loving, just being caring, and being patient with the person as they're not adjusting very
Yeah.
quickly, kind of gets them to a point where they go, I have to do better for my
It
spouse.
was like the scripture I read on Sunday, and it talked about
Yep.
how the spouse, and it brought up the wife, but it goes both ways. And it said, so you got the husband that is unsaved, or basically unsaved, or you got the wife that's struggling, unsaved, or basically a spouse who may be living for Christ, but they are struggling. It says, don't leave them. It says, actually, your conduct, let your conduct
Mhm.
be a drawing card. Let your love be a drawing card. Let the way you try to be graceful among them be a drawing card. Don't even use the words of your mouth to try to win them. It says, no, let your conduct win them. And it says that is a great price before God.
Yep.
Understanding that I don't leave them when they're struggling to be what they need to be. I actually be more of an example of what you should be in a
Yep.
marriage to draw them in that. And so one of the things I was saying with that is that when we run into people saying, I'm ready to go out the door, and they have no biblical basis for them leaving. The
Yeah.
spouse haven't cheated. They not out with a whole nother family. And I'm saying, well, I know you want to leave because you're not getting attention, the affection, the time, all these things that are happening. But we go to the Bible and what God says, because that's the standard.
Right.
You have no grounds for divorce.
Right.
And now understanding you have no
Or
grounds
no grounds for being mean
no
to them.
being mean to them.
Or no grounds for, just
Leaving them, separating
right,
from them. I didn't
separating,
divorce them,
yeah.
but I'm living in a basement or a different house. And it says, no, because now what did God say? God say you don't leave them in rough times. You actually become the standard to show them and love them through the rough times.
Yeah.
So now it's a change because it becomes a standard. So no matter how I may feel about my wife not maybe giving me what I need, I can't go seek it for somebody else because the standard is God tells me I can't go after another woman because I'm married. So
That's
now
right.
my standard is now God says, no, love her in the hard times like I love you in the hard times.
Mhm.
Pick her up in the bad times like I pick you up in the bad times. Not stop thinking about yourself, because that's the standard again.
Yep.
Now don't be selfish, be selfless.
Yep.
Now don't be stubborn. Now have a heart that's tender towards her needs. As it says, kindly affectionate towards one another. Ephesians 4:29-30. It explains how to love each other in those things. So
Yes.
that's why the standard is so important, because it tells you don't look out for yourself, but the best of others.
And the thing is, we talked about trauma before on one of our earlier podcasts. The truth of the matter is, we are, as individuals, what we're made up of because of the things that we've been through in life, plus our personalities and
Yes.
things like that. And a lot of things get rooted in us, get grounded, and it takes time to change.
Yes, it does.
Sometimes it takes help to change,
Yep.
like therapy, things like that.
Yes.
It's kind of sad how in our community it's so taboo because culturally we're pretty stubborn people.
Yeah.
But the truth is, but that's why our marriage success rate has gotten so low.
Yeah.
Because of stubbornness. I'd rather go see a lawyer than a therapist.
Yeah.
Come on now. We have to have a different mindset. We have to want to win for our
Family. Yep.
And that's why we're doing what we do. That's why this podcast is so important to us and the things that we do in our marriage community, because it's time for marriages to win. Marriages are the foundation and the fabric of the country we live in.
Yeah.
They're the foundation and fabric of the church and of everything in life, because marriages are the stability of life. And it's important that we're not letting selfishness overcome us. We're not letting stubbornness overcome us, and that we have a standard that's greater than we are.
Yep. And that's the key.
And that's God.
That's God. It's saying, I have a standard better than me. Jesus, what's your standard for me? Love your wife as I love the church.
Because anything other than God can move with
the
emotions,
shake, rock, and
don't
roll.
They know the emotions go like this? And so if my standards are going to move with my emotions, then guess what? I don't have a standard.
Yeah.
I have this is what I'm willing to do right now. So this is what I'm willing to put up with right now.
And so your marriage always going to be going like this. And what happens? People say, I'm tired of this. I'm jumping off the boat. I'm tired of the, I need where it's going to be some stability of us understanding we have a certain standard in place that's unmovable. And God becomes that standard that is unmovable for you. So that's the key right there. As you learn each other, you're having grace for each other while you both of you are learning how to heal, be there for each other,
learning each other.
Yeah. But like you said,
trying to change,
doing the work you need to do. One of the things we about to be done, guys. But people come to me and they'll say, yeah, I think it's time for me to go. And I'll say, oh, okay. So what work have you done? And most people get a blank look. What you mean, what have I done? What work have you done? What have you done to make sure your marriage thrives? Huh? Well, I ain't told them. Okay, but that didn't work. What was your game? What was your plan B, C, D? And they what you talking about? And I'll say, okay, have you been in marriage counseling? No, well, we haven't really done that. And some may say, well, I did marriage counseling. Okay, what marriage books are you reading together? What books are you reading on getting yourself better to learn how to be a better husband or wife? What marriage conferences are you attending right now? What marriage, as we have a marriage retreat sessions, weekly marriage retreat sessions. What are you part of things like that? Are you doing stuff like Love Dare books? Are you doing what it's some work? Are y'all attending church together? Are y'all praying together? Are y'all doing and people like, wait, no, I haven't done none of that. Matter of fact, you don't even know if y'all know how to communicate. How did you learn how to be married?
Right.
I grew up in a single family home. So you have no idea how to be married, what marriage should look like.
But even if somebody is grown up in a home with a very successful married couple, the issue is the two people in the other marriage are not the same people.
Different backgrounds, different histories. Yeah. So at the same time, and so what this work for my parents may not work for y'all. That's why y'all need to understand you need more help and not understand how to work together. So it's all these different things that we have to make sure we are doing, and we're going to the extent of the end of before we decide to destroy something that is meant to be beautiful.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be a lot of hard work. It's going to be a lot of sacrificing. It's going to be some pain, but the joy,
so worth it.
Yes,
it's so worth it. Like I can't imagine you giving up on me or me giving up on you in the hard times we had. Like, y'all, we raised 6 kids together. We were married when we both pursued our master's degrees. We were married when my mother and father passed away. We were married when, buying houses and selling houses. And I'm just thinking about all the milestones of life that we've been through. And some of those times were very hard. We had some very hard times. And if you had given up on me or I had given up on you during those times, and we didn't make it to this point
to see the blessings of what God is doing with our children, with us,
I
with
couldn't
our family.
Imagine it. I couldn't imagine
all that lineage and destiny, all the things that's happening just down the drain, actually sending them on a different path in life because of the things we open our children up to and the different curses and different things that they have to struggle through because of us not doing the work we need to do to protect them.
Yes. And that's what it's about. It's about protecting each other, protecting our children, protecting our just protecting our families in general. So the work that you do for your marriage is worth it. It might feel hard, it might feel tedious, it might feel one-sided, it might be frustrating, feeling like, it's never going to come to anything, but you can feel good knowing that you've given it your all, that you've done everything you could do
Yes.
to make your marriage successful, and that you hung in there. And that's the thing, you want to have a free heart. I always tell people, and we're about to cut out, there was a point in time with my father that I had stopped talking to him and I had given up on our relationship. But well before he passed, I gave my life to Christ and I started talking to him again, and we reestablished our relationship. Well, not long after that, he passed away. And I tell people all the time, the freedom that I have in my heart, knowing that I, reestablished that relationship with my dad. He knew that I loved him. I knew he loved me, even though we had those hard times. Even though he's gone, I feel free in my heart knowing that I didn't hold a grudge against him, and that I did what I needed to do to mend those broken places. Nobody should leave a marriage without doing everything they can do to mend those broken places.
So
for your marriages.
Exactly. So we're going to pray for you guys.
Yep.
For all out there who marriage may be going well, but you want to make sure it stays strong. And then those out there who are looking to get married, but they want to make sure they are in the right place they need to be. And then for those who marriages may be struggling,
Yep.
and y'all are having a hard time moving forward.
You can make it.
Yes, you can.
You can do it, like on the Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens you
me
to deal with that,
That's
to go
right.
through whatever you're dealing with. So, Father God, we thank you for everyone who joined the podcast, everyone who will
Yes,
watch, my
Lord.
King. We ask you, Lord, to bless the marriages of those watching, Father. We ask you, Lord, they'll be strengthened, Lord, that you give them the strength they need in weak places, Father, that you build them up, Lord, to be a person who encourages their spouse, who supports their spouse, who is selfless, and that both of the spouses, Lord, are just willing to be servants towards one another, Lord, as you served us, Father. You blessed us and you loved us, Lord, through our hard times, through our rough times,
Yes,
Lord, through when we struggle, Lord, to see the purpose you were calling us to do, Lord. You were patient and kind with us, Father. Let us have their heart for our spouse, Lord, as they have their struggles, Lord, and they have their hard times, Lord. Let us always see ourselves and how we could be a better spouse, a better mate for them, Father, and a better help for them, my King. Bless us, Lord, that we are in place, Lord, that, for those who are single, Lord, that they have the heart and mind they need, and the love they need, Lord, to build a family and build a marriage, Lord, and be in place, Lord, to, be that foundational piece that looks at you, Jesus, for all the help that they need, my King.
Yes, Lord.
We actually just bless us and keep us this day, Lord, and give us what we need. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And so we want you guys to join us next time as we focus on building a legacy of loving relationships, powerful marriages, and purposeful lives. We love y'all. We want you to be blessed.
And always be healed.
Good night.
Good night.